Hello to all of you fabulous Aquarius Truly listeners. Welcome to episode 5 of Aquarius Truly, starring me, your fabulous host, Lisette Serrano. I really hope that y'all enjoyed last week's extremely last minute episode that I actually filmed yesterday with my friend Sage. And I really want to try to have more guests on the pod as the weeks go by. And I'll definitely have like a second microphone just so that we are not sharing one microphone in the midst of it, and just so that the sound is just always super crisp and clear. But you live and you learn, okay? Like, we are not going to have a perfect episode every single time, especially when we are just starting out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not always going to be perfect. Also, I know what y'all are thinking. Let's get into the fit. I know. You're like, what is this tracksuit jacket doing with this beautiful dress? The heat in my apartment is not working. And they don't do maintenance until Monday because they don't do maintenance over the weekend. So I'm just kind of freezing my ass off in here and just kind of have to have a jacket at night. And I'm not sure if I told you guys this in any of the episodes, but when I first moved to LA, I was under the impression that it was going to be 80 degrees all year around. Like, I thought it was going to be giving Palmira, Colombia vibes, but apparently not. It doesn't get freezing is my thing. Here's my thing. It doesn't get brick per se, but it definitely does get a little chilly. It's like 50 degrees at night. I know I sound like such a little baby that I get cold in 50-degree weather now, but I'm sorry. My body is just getting very accustomed to this weather. And I'm just like, why did this state make me so weak as a person? Like, girl, that's the thing. Like, I feel like here, and like, I don't want anybody to get offended by this, but this is just like coming from an East Coast, specifically Northeast baddie. Like, the thing is like, just in comparison, the people here, like, for lack of a better word, are a little weak. I'm like, don't take offense. But just like, I'll see girls in puffers in like 50-degree weather. Are you good? Or I literally went with my friend to a listening party and it was outside and I saw people in hats and I'm like, it is literally like 40, not even early 40s. It is like 48 at the absolute lowest. Bitch, you do not need a hat. Like, please be serious. Oh my goodness. I just think about like New York winters and Chicago winters. And I guess I'm just such like a New York, Jersey gal at heart and to my core. I love it here. And I think that it's so interesting having grown up somewhere else for such a long period of time. And like, you know, we're still in the US, obviously. So it's like not so drastically different. But like, I will say the culture, I guess, dependent on what type of neighborhood you go to, that the people here are a little sensitive. But like I said, it's all dependent on where in California you're going to. And I also only know like some of LA. Like, I just got here. So what do I know as a person, you know? I cannot believe that this is the last episode that I am filming in 2024. Girl, where did the time go? Like, I am in such disbelief by that. I can't even fathom that 2025 is going to be happening. It's so weird. Like, I feel like it's always weird when, I guess, just like the passage of time, and like, it is a weird experience every New Year's, obviously, where you're just like, I can't believe we're in this year. And it's like, we're always so shocked as if it's not something that happens every year or that happens very often. So it's just so strange that like societally we're always just like, oh my gosh, it's like a brand new year. Like as if this is something that never happens ever. And it's like, girl, we literally go through this every single year. Like we all just need to chill the fuck out. But like, I think I'm just having such a strange feeling because with all of the other New Year's that I've had, and like, I don't know if this is just like a result of getting older, with all the other ones, it's just kind of been like, oh, it's a new year, new me. Like, yes, like the year's ending. Like, it's so crazy. Here, it's like, I can't even fathom that 2025 is an actual year. And I'm not sure if I've had, it's just, this is kind of a new experience for me. I've never had it where I'm like, I can't believe I can't ever see myself writing that it is 2025 on any documents. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is kind of what is tripping me out the most about this transition is just like how I'm going to be dating my journal and it's going to be 2025. Like it's just, that's just not even a real thing for me. And like, I can't believe it. And I just like can't put two and two together, I guess, for like lack of a better word. This year was very eventful. There was a lot of shit that went down. And I would say this is pretty up there with transformative years that I've had simply because of the situations that I've been thrown into. Like, I just don't understand how I experience so much, I guess. Like, it's just not even clicking in my brain at all. And I am like, dude, I had a breakup this year, which is like so completely unbelievable. And I am like, how do we get here? Like, and now all of a sudden, like I'm single and I was so used to being single for a very long period of time that now it's like I can't believe that that's something that now is like new. Like I sort of feel like myself again, which is great. Because I think in the midst of my relationship, I did lose myself so much. Like it was ungodly. It was quite strange. It was just not a good experience for me. I would say like, and I did mention this on the podcast, that with toxic relationships, like it's not always bad. Like that's kind of what keeps you in, is the fact that it is not always back. Oh my God, that is not always bad. Y'all, these Mercury retrograde technical difficulties are not cute anymore. Literally tell me why I started talking and then it was like echoing back at me. I was like, I can't focus on anything that I'm saying at all. But anyway, now that I'm like back, I guess like it's just so strange that now that I experienced that and that I was so drawn to someone and like everything changed so quickly. Like it is so weird. I don't even know how to explain, like personality wise, and just like me no longer living with my parents. Like it's like so much change. I dyed my hair. Like so many things happened. I can't believe that like at the beginning of this year, I was just like all about another person. Like that is just so strange and weird that now I don't even talk to this person anymore. And we were telling each other that like we were the only one for each other. Like love is so strange. Sometimes it just like you start, at least in toxic relationships, in my experience, I really started to resent my partner towards the end of the relationship. And I didn't realize how resentful I was because of, I guess, just like how in love I was at the same time. Love and hate go very, very hand in hand. Because truly, the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. Because when you hate someone, you have a lot of feelings behind that. And sometimes there is love in hatred. or there's at least a level of admiration, I guess, which is what makes hatred so strange. And I think it's a really interesting feeling when you're filled with so much anger for another human, because hate is very intimate. Like, it really is so intimate, just like love, which is why those two are not pure opposites, like with indifference, where indifference, you simply do not give a fuck. So when I started to feel just very angry towards my partner and very frustrated, like eventually I was like, this is enough. And it was truly that built up resentment that I had grown to have and I'm still dealing with. Like, I have still not like completely forgiven my ex, and I kind of expect that. I don't think that that's an unusual thing, considering it's literally what we broke up in July. So that's like not even half a year. So I would say I'm just kind of in this era where I don't like love him, but I definitely don't wish him well. Like, I'm just not in that era yet where I'm like wishing him well. I wish you the best and like all this stuff. I'm still in an era of like, oh my fucking God, I cannot believe that you did this to me and you got away with it. Like, there is definitely a level of resentment there. And I've just sort of been in this process of, I already forgave myself. Oh my gosh, English. I already forgave myself for the situation, but unfortunately, I have not forgiven him. And I don't know if I'm ever going to get to that point, simply because it was abuse. So I just don't know if I can really forgive someone who emotionally manipulated me on several accounts and twisted everything into believing that it's my fault, to the point where even now I am like, I'll overthink something, or like, it's just, I have such a large level of relief now every time I remember that I am the only person that I have to speak to about a decision that I make. That is relieving to me, especially as an Aquarius. I love only having to turn to myself. I don't have to worry about another person in XYZ scenario. If I'm making like a decision, or like day-to-day decisions is what I'm talking about. Obviously, I talk to like my family about like big decisions and things like that, just because like we are very close. But if it's like a little decision that I'm making day to day, I don't have to worry about another person getting upset by that, which I think is something that made me resent the relationship a lot, was always having to turn to another person and like consider their feelings, and like being, it's not really the considering feelings part that upset me, because like, bitch, that's just basic human empathy. It wasn't so much that. For me, it was just like the fear of being told no about something, or being told that indirectly being told that I was stupid for thinking something, or having another human tell me and truly make me believe that I'm not intelligent. Like, it's the relief that I have that I don't have to go through that anymore when I'm making decisions, and I don't have to overthink all my actions. And that's just like kind of the control that a manipulative person will have over you. And it sucks, and I really don't wish it on another person. I don't wish it towards the person I hate the most. I don't even wish it towards my like ex-boyfriend who was emotionally manipulative. I do not wish what he did to me to him back. But like I said, I certainly don't wish him well. And I think that that's something that's really important to remember, is that you guys don't have to forgive everybody. I think that's a myth, and I think it's a really naive way of thinking that in order to have a good karma and receive good things, you have to forgive people who have been terrible to you and done nasty things. You actually don't have to wish anybody well. And especially with women, I feel like we're just like constantly told that you have to be forgiving and kind if someone is like a fucking bitch to you. And it's like, no, you don't have to forgive those people. I don't think forgiveness is something that you should applaud yourself for doing, like, if that makes any sense. I think it's a brave step, but I don't think it's a necessary thing to have where like you should be praised because you are forgiving people who did you dirty. Because to me, it's giving doormat. To a certain extent. Obviously, like I said with the pod, there's nuance to everything that I say. But if you forgive people a lot and like you prioritize forgiveness, and then you just let people walk over you and you never speak your mind, I don't really see that as a flex. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's powerful to set boundaries with other people. I think it's important. I think it's necessary for life. It's necessary for your own happiness. I think you have to set boundaries and be like, I don't like this. I don't want this. This is not the type of relationship I want. This is not the type of friendship that I want, the type of situation that I want. Like, being able to acknowledge that and state those things, I think is so much more powerful than forgiving and forgetting and being walked all over repeatedly, in my opinion. And that's not to say that I don't forgive anyone. I do have a lot of forgiveness in my heart, but unfortunately, if you're a terror and you suck, like, I don't know, I don't really see it as necessary to be forgiving or like to spread love and light. I feel like constantly there is just like a praise that I don't necessarily notice this with my friends and the people that I care about, but I guess it's something that I noticed, not even just moving out here. This is something that I noticed like with a couple of girls in high school, that they mask their people pleasing as them being a kind and good person. I don't think people pleasing and being nice makes you a good person, if you ask me honestly. Because I've met plenty of people that have that attitude that they are nice and then literally behind closed doors are actually the fucking worst and like a terror. And I'm specifically like thinking of also this girl that I went to high school with. I don't know if she follows me. I think she might follow me. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in her life or anything, but maybe she follows me, maybe she doesn't. She was a Cancer. And I don't trust Cancers. How people treat Geminis and Scorpios, I'm like, that's how you gotta treat fucking Cancers and those love and light bitches, because girl, they're not it. Like, I've said this before. Bible quote, evil eye in your Instagram bio, you're a terror and I don't trust you, and get that energy away from me. But with this girl, she was literally like always smiling, always nice, quote unquote, to everybody, and just like being sweet, and would also describe themselves as nice, which I think is a weird thing that people do. I don't know how y'all feel about that. Whenever someone is like calling themselves nice, it's like, unpack it. Because it's like, that's a very normal human quality to have. So the fact that you have to say that makes me think that you yourself are not sure if you're a good person. So you have to say it to like show people, or like, I guess, show off that you're nice or whatever. And that's kind of what this girl would do, is like, she just would be like, I'm nice, I'm a good person, blah, blah, blah. And then this bitch felt, I guess, like so threatened by me because we were like in a show together. She would like rehearse. We had like a dance number that we had to do. And the whole thing behind the dance number was that we had to be very like synchronized and like together. And like that was what was going to make the dance work. Instead of practicing with me and doing it, she would literally like during lunch practice it on her own and like not tell me when she was rehearsing. And she also would make little digs. Like in high school, I used to be friends with people who would literally be like, oh, Lisette's a mess. Love you, but you're a mess. Like that was like the type of energy that I was surrounded by as a teenager, was just like little digs. One time this girl literally told me, I met someone like Lisette and I actually like really hated her. Like she had your personality and she acted just like you, and I rarely meet people like you. But this girl, for some reason, I didn't like. Like, she literally said that to my face in front of a group of people. And it's like, bitch. Like, but what do these people do? They put on a smile. They say a really diggy, attacking comment and say it with a smile and wrap it in a pretty bow, and then don't realize, oh, that you literally said something terrible. Basically, with this girl, yeah, it's literally that attitude where people will just like say the gnarliest, nastiest thing to you, but think because they wrapped it in a pretty bow, it's not that bad. If anything, I think it's worse. It's kind of like with bigots, where they are sometimes, to me, sometimes I think it's worse when a bigot is secretive about them being a bigot than the people that are just outright making commentary and saying slurs and doing crazy shit and being ridiculous, like people like Donald Trump, essentially just like being bigoted. To me, sometimes I'm more scared of people that are on the quieter side with those things and instead have a lot of built up hatred towards any marginalized community and don't really say much about it, and instead just like make little jokes about minorities. To me, those people scare me a little bit. Or maybe like the types of people that just like are just like not open with the fact that like they're racist. And it's like, it concerns me, and it's an epidemic. Like, there's literally people that like I have met that will like make fun of other people's accents and like mimic them and stuff. And it's like, how do y'all not see that shit as offensive? Oh my God, it's a growing concern. So that's kind of how I am in these situations where people who wrap these really offensive comments or like really terrible things in a pretty little bow and are like, I'm so kind, and walk around thinking like they're the kindest person ever. And it's like, you didn't hear what you just said. Like, that's not what a alleged nice person would do. Like, what? It's those little old me ass bitches. Like, I don't trust a little old me. What? I'm like, just be upfront, you know? Or those people that are like, I don't like to gossip. Bitch, everyone loves to gossip. It's literally a human trait. That's psychology 101. That's the first thing you learn in a psychology class. Like, people love to gossip. People love to talk about other people. Like, don't lie. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just like I've met so many people like that. So to me, I honestly prefer someone who is just like, I guess like has a bad attitude and owns up to it and knows it, over someone who has an attitude and walks around the world thinking they're the sweetest thing to ever breathe. Like, I don't know, because it's like, at least in the scenario with a person with a bad attitude, like, and is the attitude ever even really that bad? With those types of people, it's always like they're just very honest and secure with who they are. I appreciate that over someone who is clinging on to their people pleasing, and assuming that that makes them a good person. Like, you know what I mean? It's always the people with people-pleasing tendencies. And it's shit that, like, always, you know, everyone has their own healing. And, like, I don't judge people for being in different growth journeys. But I think as a person, I'm allowed to, like, put my foot down and say, I don't want that energy. No, thank you. Like, we don't want that energy. Like I say to my 5-year-olds, I always tell them, I'm like, if you don't want it, no, thank you. Just say a little no, thank you. You tell the universe, I don't want this. I don't want this energy. I don't want this person. I don't want these people communicating with me. And your guides do as they please with that information. And you can also do as you please with that information, because you don't have to please anybody. To anyone out there who still is struggling with people pleasing, because I think, and I'm saying this from an Aquarius perspective too, I think everyone struggles with people pleasing. I don't think that that's a subjective experience and that it's a certain group of people. Everyone has had a people pleasing era at some point. The problem is when people don't grow out of that and then go around using that unhealed people-pleasing energy and think that they don't have to do anything else to be a good person. Like, to me, there's this in Colombia, this happens a lot where pleasantries are a very big thing over there. And that's just kind of big in countries that are more, well, not all of Colombia is like this, but at least where my family is from, it's very rural, very like the community, like you respect your neighbors, you all know each other. Like, it's like, that's the guy that sells this, that's the guy that does this, the guy that rides on the bike, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, that is more like, that's less of an American ideal, where here in the US, we're very individualistic. It's less like community based, which I personally don't mind. I vibe with it to a certain extent. I would say with some things, I'm very like, I want to be on my own, and like, you know, I'm just a very much like, I'm on my own type of girl. I thrive like when I'm alone. I thrive when I'm working on myself, like, you know, but I do like having community. You know what I mean? Like, I like talking to other people, helping people out, and just being involved and volunteering and all that and organizing. But in Colombia, yeah, it's always like that, at least in Palmira, where like my dad's from. And like my mom's born in Cali, but grew up in Candelaria. And Candelaria is very much like the community and the people and this and that and the third. So with that, the culture of Colombia is very pleasantries, good morning. In Colombia, if you get into a taxi without saying good morning and you just tell the guy like where you want to go, they literally think you're the rudest person ever for not saying like good morning, how are you? Like, it's very pleasantries everywhere you go. You have to say buenas tardes, blah blah blah, whatever. Like, or else they think you have a bad attitude and are terrible. What I like about the US is that you kind of don't have to do that all the time. You could say like a hello or something, but like, or you just say, oh, a table for two. Like, you don't have to say good morning or good afternoon to everybody. But in Colombia, it's very much like, if you don't do that, you're rude. Which is it's so unusual. It's like, for me, I don't really give a fuck about pleasantries if the person that's doing them is also like not a good person. You know what I mean? Like, it's that love and light shit I was mentioning. Like, it's like, you're a good person because you ask someone how their day is. Girl. Because you say buenas tardes when they get into the taxi. Like, no. Pleasantries do not make you a good person. It's your actions. It is how you treat people. Not how many nice activities or how many points you get for being nice. It's how you treat people and your actions, you know? So I think, yeah, it's just such a different experience, like US versus Colombia, or like even other third world countries. And like, not even just third world countries, like the US is just very much like it's more individualized. It has less of that community aspect, I guess, like dependent on what state you go to, because obviously the South is like more community and stuff and like more community oriented. But just like in cities like LA or like New York, or maybe, I've never been to Atlanta, so I can't really speak much for them, but like Boston, it's just like all these big cities and stuff. It's very much like individual. You do your own thing. And like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, if you ask me. I don't think it's a bad thing at all to want to do things on your own, especially coming from the very universal experience of being a people pleaser. Setting your boundaries is extremely powerful, and it's your superpower. Your boundaries are your superpower. The behavior you accept and don't accept is your superpower as well. Like, I really applaud people that put their foot down and say no and don't subscribe to these societal beliefs that we have, that you have to you have to say the right thing all the time, or like you have to say things with like a certain tone and stuff like that. And like, especially just coming from someone like myself, who, that I'm not only from the East Coast, I'm like, I guess like Latina, whatever. I don't fucking know. That's a whole other episode. I'm gonna talk about Latinidad in a whole other episode too, and how it is fake and how it upholds white supremacy. And it's gonna be a whole thing, and y'all are gonna eat it up. But I guess just like with how I'm looked at in the ways of society, and like obviously I'm on the easier spectrum of this because of how white I am and because of like being white passing and everything. But it's just like when someone like me versus, I guess, like a blonde and blue eyes girl, when someone like me versus her is saying something, it's like you're going to turn to me and think that I'm being aggressive. Like if I have my hoops and my lip liner and everything, it's like I say something and it's like some people, and I've I'm like, I hate to say it, but I'm like, I have only noticed it with white people saying that I have, I guess, an attitude. It has, a person of color has never said that I have an attitude or that I'm too blunt or anything. And that's something that I've honestly like clocked and noticed in my life, just with like who can handle me, I guess, and everything. And I think it used to be something I didn't understand like where it was stemming from for the longest time. And like I could be completely wrong, but it's just like, it's just a pattern that I notice. And it's just like that idea that like, you know, the angry Latina and like she's aggressive and this and that. Like I've never been called aggressive by a race other than white. Like truly. I'm really trying to think back and like think like, have I heard this? But no, the person of color has never said that to me. So that's something that I have clocked and that I have noticed. And honestly, I think like if I was in a different era in my life, I would feel really bad about myself for having people think this and stuff like that, or like coming for certain things that I'm saying, it like especially on the internet, that they will think like your tone, you're this, you're that. I'm like, what about my tone? Because if you dig deeper into that, it's like really the root of it is white supremacy. Like always, girl. Because there's a lot of blonde bitches on TikTok that say very similar things to me and no one clocks them or say they have an attitude. Or not even just blondes, just like people that are just like not, I guess, like it's not ethnic. I don't fucking know. I'm like, but you know, like it's like that dumb shit. And I feel like, yeah, if I was in a different era, these things would hurt me. But honestly, it's like I'm not going to stop being myself or abandon how I say things or like switch up my tone. Like I was told that, I think when I was moving, that there was like a need to switch up my tone. And obviously we can guess the race of the person that said this. But literally, I was actually told that, like, oh, the tone. Like, I'm telling you, it has not, I've never heard that from a person of color. And it's something that I've, like, taken note of. And I think that that's something, living here, I'm always going to bring all of myself to every scenario. I don't care what gig I have to say no to. Because every time that I have been truthful with myself and that I have spoken my mind and established my boundaries, there has never been a time where it has not worked in my favor. One time on my story, when Donald Trump was elected for president and people were shocked to find out that like one of the main groups that voted for Trump were Latino, people were very shocked to find that out. And it's like, as someone who is a daughter of Colombian parents and whose entire family is Colombian, the shit that they say, I'm not shocked in the slightest, okay? Like, I want you guys to research cultures outside of the US because I think we have this mentality that Latinos are left leaning. That's a lie. Like, that is literally a lie. And if you're Latino, you know that. You have Hispanic parents, like, well, Hispanic means Spain as well. But if you have like Latino parents, like, you know that shit of, oh, where they're left leaning, that's a lie. Like, and it's not even, I don't blame like Latinos for the lack of information that they have and voter suppression. None of that is their fault. It's literally all a result of the system that we have in place. It's a result of white supremacy, and unfortunately, like, it continues to be upheld, like, everywhere. Y'all, look at South America, look at the history, and you tell me that you think these people are going to vote for Kamala Harris. Like, please be serious. So when I posted this on my story where I was saying, like, people are so shocked, like, blah, 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 and I started talking about how, like, white Latinos benefit from... Oh my gosh, sorry, I just got a message. Someone's inviting me to Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm like, y'all want me to just like spend my money like 24/7. Anyway, so when I posted this on my story, I was just basically saying like, oh, like white, I said like white Latinas equals white women or something like that. And someone responded to that. They sent me a full paragraph in Spanish, very, very bad grammatical. Me criticizing someone's grammar while I like fuck up my sentences in English. Anyway, sends me this message in Spanish. This person clearly Google Translated and did not learn Spanish at home. I don't criticize. Also, I want to preface that by saying I don't criticize kids for not knowing Spanish or not being taught Spanish. My dad didn't want to teach me Spanish just because when he first came here, and he was criticized heavily for not knowing English, and just people were very racist to him and terrible and xenophobic, including teachers. Love the 80s. As a result of that, he didn't really want to teach me and my sister Spanish. He didn't want that. But my mom and my grandma very much like wanted us to know it and everything. And like, I've had my no sabo tendencies. Like, I've been a no sabo kid and everything. So, but I eventually learned like in my adulthood, because it's like, yes, I understand your parents not teaching you, but it's like eventually, you know, when you enter adulthood, like Google's free. There's Duolingo. There's ways to learn it. You know what I mean? If you want to. And if you don't want to, then like, that's fine. But, you know, it's not your parents. It's just like, you don't want to learn it, and that's good. But with that, yeah, he sends me this message, super, super bad grammar in Spanish. It wasn't even legible. I specifically remember him saying se crecía because he was trying to say se creció. And I was like, I could barely even read what he was saying. I understood, obviously, but I was just like, this is not legible at all, bitch. He sends me this whole thing about how, oh, like my mom, like is Puerto Rican, like I think it's really terrible what you're saying, that you are like saying you're taking away their identity. And it's like, actually, I'm not, because where in there did I say that you were not ethnic? I just said y'all were white. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are ethnic white people. Like, the fuck? It's just where we are societally right now, and just like who's getting discriminated against. But it's just like the things that have happened, I haven't really, until I went to NYU, and even at NYU, the discrimination was still like quite low. But it's like, and I also grew up in a very diverse town. So I think that's kind of where I learned like my privilege and everything. And I understand not everyone had that same experience and like the diaspora and all that. But yeah, this dude got pissed at me for saying that. And when he got pissed, I truly understood what people meant by people are constantly projecting to you. This man clearly has a lot of identity issues and isn't sure of himself. And it's not the individual's fault. Like I say, it's always, I look at things, I'm a Virgo moon, so I look at things very critically. And I don't blame this guy. Do I think he should have attacked me in my DMs? No. But I understand it's because he has identity issues. He has it's the fucking not Latina enough epidemic, the dumb shit we're experiencing. But he has a lot of that where he doesn't feel like Latino enough. And he took it upon himself to project that onto me. So I don't blame him necessarily. Like, it's like, you have those identity issues and everything, and you have those problems, and you took it upon yourself to bring that shit to me. And I'm literally reading this DM. I'm like, here I am not having not having this, and I'm like very secure in who I am. I'm recognize my privilege and like also acknowledge all the sides of myself and everything and the things that make me special. And that's something I admire about myself, is how secure I am in my identity, that I don't have to go over the top or prove to anyone what my identity is or anything. Like, I don't even be talking about like being Latino or anything all the time. Like, I mainly just tell people like I'm Colombian and stuff. And, like, that's it. You know what I mean? Because I also just don't want to derive my identity from white supremacists, where they're constantly trying to other you, constantly trying to make you feel like you're smaller. I don't subscribe to some of that myself. We have, there's an addiction to wanting to be oppressed so badly that a lot of people have. And it's from people who have not seen oppression in real time or like experienced it or anything like that. Like going to the airport and stuff. My brown father is obviously more discriminated against than like me and my sister, who are white, and my mother, who is like very fair-skinned. It's like when you actually witness people getting oppressed, there's not this addiction to like feeling like you want to be oppressed so badly. My friend's brother said that made this point where he was just like, it's because it's like not cute or it's not quirky to be a white girl anymore. So now white girls don't want to be white anymore because they're not benefiting from it. So whenever it's convenient for them, they'll use that as an excuse to like try to be oppressed. And it's really a strange thing when you notice it. And it's like me being someone who grew up in a diverse town and has like witnessed people actually getting discriminated against and sees the difference as to like how I'm treated versus like a black or brown person or versus like any other marginalized group, seeing the differences in treatment and the differences in acceptance and tolerance. When you're exposed to that and are witnessing that, you are not like going to complain or anything. And I'm not going to sit here and say I've never experienced any like xenophobia. Obviously, people like did make me feel bad about my hair growing up and like, her roots are like still in there and like I will never perfect them. It'll always be me going to the Dominican salon to like get my hair look cute. Those comments like did affect me as a child and just like into adulthood and stuff, and just having like a different hair texture and everything, my nose being bigger, my lips being bigger, and just like having different features and stuff like that. However, I'm smart enough to know that is literally xenophobia versus racism. Like, there's a lot. I feel like so much was covered in this episode. Like, I feel like I almost burped. I feel like we really just like got into all of it. And it's like it's been an hour and I'm like, oh my God, we literally have talked about so much. And like, honestly, I could still like keep on yapping. But I do have to memorize lines for like 2 auditions that I have to film tomorrow. So I do be a busy bee. As we know, I also have to post my Vlogmas. You guys, I got an oil change today. I hate being an adult. I can't fucking stand it. Like, I'm like, why am I getting an oil change? Like, what the fuck? Like, where is my father in all this? I'm like, I'm just a girl. I don't know how to do this shit. But yeah, they kept trying to sell me cars, and I was like, I'm so emotionally attached to my car. Like, you're not gonna sell me a car. I have pink hair. Do I look interested in like buying a car right now or changing my monthly fee? Like whatever the shit the fucking dealers tell you. I'm like, I don't care. But anyways, you are Latina enough. I feel like that would be a funny name for the video. Actually, you aren't. Fix everything about yourself. Oh my Lord. I feel like all my episodes are just very much giving it's not for everyone, and not everyone is going to like what I say, and it does hurt to hear. I know it hurts to hear. Like, girl. It hurts to get humbled in a way, but it's not really humbling to realize that you actually do have more privilege than you think. You should be happy that you're not getting stopped at airports or stopped when you're driving or like getting discriminated by police. Like, it goes so much deeper than that, which is why I never understand why people want to be oppressed so badly. I'm like, you want to get stopped all the time and like get discriminated for everything and experience this every single day and have people constantly looking at you like you're dangerous. Like, you want that? Like, I remember growing up seeing how people would look at my dad, or like seeing how people would treat my grandma and stuff like that. Like, but it's like my friend's brother said, it's not cool to be white anymore. So now people are like, I don't want that. I want to be special. I don't want to be spicy. I'm like, okay. But anyways, wow. I love that the episodes have been getting so much longer because I've just been getting more of a handle of things. I really hope that you guys enjoyed episode 5 and enjoyed. I think this is going to be released. This is going to be the first episode of 2025. I'm still in 2024. So like, I don't know y'all yet. It's not new year, new me. Like, I don't know. But I'm so blessed that I finally finished filming all my episodes for 2024. Now I literally just have to like sit down and edit. But I feel so relieved that like my work is finally getting done. And once I memorize my lines and film these auditions, I'll be able to like relax fully and not be stressed. Like, the end of the year is just a very stressful time trying to catch up with deadlines and like be everything and like having to deal with these things. It is so stressful. But thankfully, like, I've been glad to be moving through it and like actually setting my mind to these things and completing them, and like my procrastination has gotten a lot better. And in scenarios like this, I used to be very anxious and like just like not have any motivation. I've been very motivated like these weeks because I'm balancing the pod and the content with having basically like a full-time job. It's been very hectic, but I don't know. I'm really applauding myself for the way I've been able to move through it and still like hang out with my friends and stuff. Like, good job, Lisette. It's giving go Gina by SZA. I'm going to probably listen to that after I hit stop. But yeah, you guys can follow me at Lisette Serrano on everything, Instagram, on TikTok. You can subscribe to my main YouTube channel, Lisette Serrano. That is mainly just like my music, and like occasionally I'll post a video on it. It's just up to y'all to like subscribe and like figure out when I post so that you can always know, because I have no concept of a posting schedule on YouTube. But I am very consistent on TikTok and on Instagram. So if you guys want weird skits and stuff like that, and me giving my hot takes constantly and having people brutally attack me in the comment section repeatedly, you're welcome to subscribe to all of those things and follow me on everything. And hopefully, once again, I hope you learned a little something from this episode. I always just want to make sure I'm teaching people, giving them more knowledge that they might not have themselves. And I hope you have a very restful, or maybe a very party-like Friday, whatever your vibe is. If you're staying home tonight, if you're going out, it's up to you. It's your life, it's your journey, and continue to set boundaries for yourself. Continue to understand yourself, understand your identity. We love learning. That's the thing. I'm always open to having people learn a little deeper because I'm always learning as a person. I'm learning a new thing every day. Like, that's why I have my library card. Guys, I love reading so much because I'm just like, you always learn something when you're reading a book, and there's nothing better than picking up a book. I have to return my books because there was one I literally couldn't finish. I had zero time. So I only finished one of my books and I'm like, ugh. And I already renewed it, but time has just been very weird during all of this. But I really hope that you guys have an amazing Friday and that this was something to brighten your day. Maybe you started your morning with the pod. However you're listening to me or consuming this media, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for actually listening to what I have to say and for being open to learn. And I appreciate and love every single one of you, and you're amazing and you're capable of achieving anything. And on that note, be a star. I love you.